This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house. Welcome back to the House of Hockey podcast. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae. This is what, Breeze, episode 13?
Yeah, it's we're getting up there.
Yeah, it's sort of fitting because of like the unlucky 13. And on this episode, we talked to Bayou Bender, that's his handle on Instagram, Corey Fleetwood, that's his real name, who lives in New Orleans, and it's super spooky. So like, it's kind of perfect that this is episode 13, and we talk all about the history of hockey in the state of Louisiana, the city of New Orleans, the lack thereof, some of the pro players who came out of there. What else did we talk to Corey about? Everything. His accent's amazing.
It is. I don't even know. I feel like I was just like tunnel vision on his accent that I just kind of, I don't even know what we talked about.
We talked a lot about so much of the history of no hockey in the South, right? I mean, I think he said there's not even one arena. There's not even ice in New Orleans to skate on. So there's no rec leagues. There's no AHL system or ECHL system at all anymore. They had one, and we dive into the history of all of the minor teams and the minor systems that were in New Orleans. And and then in the state of Louisiana, there's
the mud bugs.
I think you'll really enjoy hearing his interview, especially hearing what it's like to be a hockey fan in a city where there is literally no hockey. He couldn't.
But there's lots of parties.
Lots of parties.
Lots of parties. We like parties.
In true New Orleans fashion. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what's coming up. And it's a really wonderful interview. And we think it's going to bring you a lot of light and joy and laughter and things like that. And that's, really what we strive to do here on the podcast. But we, Breezy and I both felt we had to address everything that's been going on in the nation, the world, with the protests, the riots, all stemming from, I would say, the George Floyd murder in Minnesota. And we, on the previous episode, which you listened to, we did not address it. We were not able to get on and talk about it in the moment when everything was happening, and it was Blackout Tuesday on social media and all of that. And we just wanted to address it with you all here and let you know that we do not support any kind of racism in the world or in the hockey community or on the podcast. We are working to be as anti-racist as we can. I know every single day for the last basically week and a half now when this comes out, I have been reading, watching TED Talks, watching documentaries, and doing everything I can to better educate myself so that I can be actively anti-racist. And we do not support racism of any kind or any isms of any kind on our podcast. We will not allow that to happen here. We will not allow that to happen on our social media channels. And in the community. And I know, and I'm good, Breezy's going to say something in a second, and I know that if I see it or hear it at games, anywhere I go in this hockey world that we are, and if I see it or hear it, I know I will use my voice and I will speak up.
Yeah, and I think that's all you really can do is just show your support. And I mean, like you, I'm kind of taking this time I've been a little bit silent on social media, but I've been taking this time to really try to educate myself and educate others around me that may not be up to speed or whatever that is. And so I think you need to take time for yourself and comprehend what's going on before you can really come out and show um, show all sides of your support. So I mean, today I went through and I posted all of the current NHL players who are Black on Instagram on Hunks of Hockey. There's
And
been a
there
lot of
were
requests for
what?
that.
How many? This shows a part of the systemic racism problem in our country and in the sport of
Yeah,
hockey.
yeah. I think I calculated. I think it was 15 of them. That's not including any of those that are in the AHL or any of the lower leagues, but current top level NHL level. That's what was posted, which is crazy because there's not that many. But I have to admit, I was a little bit surprised because I went through each team and I was kind of looking through and I was like, wow, there's not as many as I had thought, but there was more than I had thought. So I also got a little bit of a little lesson there too. And I gotta say, when I was posting it, I got all the photos where they're like kind of like cool and like cool looking, and so I was like, dang, like the feed looks cool now because it just really shows. And like I felt like I did something, even though it was very little of what I did. So but yeah, I think the most important thing is just to know that Ray Ray and I both completely support what Black Lives Matter, and we want to be able to take this time to educate ourselves. And just because we're not super active on social media doesn't mean that we forgotten about it, don't support it, anything like that. I just think that the two of us, I think I can speak for the two of us when I say that we're taking this time to educate ourselves and learn more and just be more aware of what's going on, and going out and smiling at people that need it.
Exactly. And we are doing what we can in the immediate with our platforms, as Breezy said. Yeah, it might be a little action to, post every single active NHL Black player on Hunks of Hockey feed. But these are the things we can do in the immediate that we know are going to show support and be effective. And I'm going to be doing the same sort of thing that I can on my account at the Hockey Lady, though it is solely about me learning to play hockey and educating people about the hockey world, the hockey community, hockey terms. And I think you'll be seeing some more content from me that is inclusive of the Black community and highlighting these players, highlighting some of the history of the Black players in the league and that sort of thing, because those are the things I can do. And, gosh, I really thought I knew a lot about racism in our country. And it's really unfortunate that it's taken something of this magnitude to show me that, like, I only know the tiniest bit. And it's opened my eyes, and everything I've read and watched and listened and learned and conversations I've had with you, Breezy, with other people in my life, I've learned so much more. And I want to do it all, right? Like, we want to do it all. We want to,
and you want to do it right too. You don't want to do it in a bad way or in a wrong way, if there is a wrong way. But I think that you want to be, supportive as you can possibly do or can be. And, but you also want to be a light that maybe some people who are just overwhelmed with everything going on, they want to have a sort of light where they might be able to take 30 seconds out of the day and not, have a post about something just to keep their mental health strong. So, so we're doing everything we can possibly do. in the meantime, and we're going to try to do as much as we possibly can. But we're always open to talking and listening and hearing you out too.
Yes. And we've reached out to a handful of diverse guests. Since then, we've done a pretty decent job of keeping a diverse guest list on the podcast, but we can do better. We can do more. We've already reached out to people asking them who are Black to come on and talk about just their experience in hockey, not necessarily the movement or civil rights or being anti-racist, just to diversify the world that we see. And that's something we can actively do and are doing. So just know that we support Black Lives Matter. We support all of you who listen. If you know of any wonderful guests that fall under any of the diversity categories that you think would be wonderful to have on, you know how to get in touch with us on our social media. But we felt it was really important to let you guys know how we feel and how we've been reacting and processing everything.
Yep. It's taken a minute, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I don't think it can happen overnight. And I know when like the light bulbs go off in my head, I want to just do every single thing possible to be a better person. And I strive to do that every day in my life. And you know, I'm like, okay, I have to go protest, and I have to put this video on my feed, and I want to make this post, and I want to call this person, and I want to text my Black friends, and I want to do like, you know, and it's like, okay, wait, like we're going to do all of these things, but I need to be more educated first so that I can be really clear on my stand and talking about it. And clearly I'm not there yet, but every day I take time to learn. So yeah, but here on this podcast, we hope that you find some light and entertainment, and we're going to do all the things we mentioned to bring more diversity and Black lives to our podcast.
I agree.
Yeah.
So we have a great guest on that note coming up here shortly. So
yeah,
we mentioned he's from New Orleans.
Yes.
And Rae, you lived in Louisiana for a bit, right?
I did. I love New Orleans. I support that city. I fell in love with that city. I went to college there. I went to Loyola University of New Orleans, and I had the best time. And then I worked in Baton Rouge at a news station after that for 2 years. And I mean, talk about a diverse city, culture, community of people, and the love in that city is so strong. And I loved every minute. The food, the accents, the parties, the Mardi Gras, the Jazz Fest, I love that city. I miss it every day. Not just because of the immense amount of alcohol you can consume, and you can have an open container and all that kind of stuff. But
those 3-for-1 beers get me.
Because you've been, right, Breeze, to visit?
I have. Yeah, I have.
And you remember very little of it, right?
Actually, I remember a lot of it. I was
good.
I was good. Well, I mean, one of my best friends lives in Atlanta. So I flew to him, and then we did a little road trip. So we left. So I flew in, I landed at 5 a.m. and we left immediately from Atlanta to drive to New Orleans. So that first night, we only just saw a little bit, but the next 2 nights, I mean, I remember pretty much everything. I remember I got pretty good one night. But yeah, I mean, that city is incredible. It's so much fun. I need to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back, and I feel like I gotta go see a Mud Dogs game.
Mudbugs.
Mud Dogs.
Mud dogs. Mud dogs. I'm sure that's a team somewhere. Mud bugs. Yeah. Like the crawfish. Yeah. That's like their word for crawfish.
I'm terrified of them because remember.
Why?
Remember I told you I don't like crustaceans in my little hands?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Not doing it.
Well, they taste delicious when you boil them up real good. And
I bet.
I can show you how to eat crawfish. I've shown a few friends here in Los Angeles how to peel and eat crawfish. I learned my time there. I didn't even know what the hell crawfish was until I lived there. I learned so much during my time there, and I made some really great friends and had some great memories. I was never one of those like blackout drinkers. I never have been. I mean, I've definitely been real.
It's happened. Yeah, I agree with you. I only like to get a buzz. I don't like to get drunk.
Yeah. And I was that way even in my time in New Orleans in college. Like, I mean, I could drink a lot more. Like I could put back like 5 vodka sodas and, still be of my tolerance was pretty high. But I remember everything, and I will share this fun fact with everybody here because everybody always assumes this to be the case, and it is not. And I'm going to go on the record and say,
I don't know even what you're going to say, but you look really intense right now.
It's real serious, Breezy.
Okay. All right.
I have never flashed my breasts for Mardi Gras beads ever.
Wow.
You know why? You know why? Because they're worth more than a piece of 5-cent plastic. Mm-hmm. You heard it
funny.
here. Never done it. Never done it. Though I have been on one of those balconies throwing beads, and people just want the beads and they are willing to show you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I bet. I was on a balcony as well, and there was like these little boys like drumming in the streets.
Yeah.
And they were throwing their drumsticks up to us, and we were throwing down some beads to them, and it was a good time.
Fun. Hit me up if you ever go to New Orleans. I will give you recommendations. I know our guest Corey would be happy to give you recommendations on like my favorite places to go that are off Bourbon Street. That's my number one tip is get one cocktail, a 3-for-1 beer, if you will, Breezy, or a hand grenade, or whatever your drink of choice is. Start at the beginning of Bourbon and just walk slowly down Bourbon all the way to the end. Don't go in anywhere. Just walk, look, take it all in, because you can drink on the street, and then go to Frenchman, which is at the end of Bourbon, and go listen to some wonderful live music and dance your face off.
Dance your face off. So what do you call a guy from New Orleans that never tells the truth?
Oh, God. I don't know. What do you call him?
A jambalaya. Thank you. Here all day.
Oh,
it's terrible.
That was good. We needed something really cheesy like that to laugh.
Our voices were a little down.
I know. I know, but I think it's just a reflection of how we feel and how I think a lot of people feel. But I'm going to share a ghost story about my time in New Orleans, because that's, this is episode 13. 13 is spooky or bad luck. Some people think it's good luck. And so in college, when I lived with my college roommate, she could have swore she saw a ghost in our apartment. We lived off campus, and I never saw him, but she swears we had one. I did have a couple of instances in that apartment where it felt like somebody pressed their hand against my cheek, like caress your cheek, and I was not asleep. I was like in that state of like, you're almost awake. And somebody would sit on the edge of my bed. Like you could feel the bed like go down, and you hear it, right? Like the bed creaks, right? And you feel like a weight if somebody sits on the edge of your bed.
I'm not sleeping in that room. I'm out. I'm gone.
Nah, there wasn't harmful. And if you're scared, you just tell the ghosts, go to the light. If you have bad intentions, you can't stay here, and you have to leave. And you're not welcome. And don't bother me.
I've seen so many scary movies, and that does not work.
Yes, it does.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It worked when I picked up a ghost at a bar when I lived in Orlando and brought him home to my apartment. And
you picked up a ghost at a bar?
Of course I did.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course, right? Makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is like a whole nother episode I could do just telling you the experiences I've had. And a bunch of you have already stopped listening because you're like, ghosts aren't real. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I think they are. And I think there's everything is energy. The table is energy. Everything's energy. And I don't think we know the half of what is really out there in the world. Do you have any ghost stories? Did you feel spooked when you were in New Orleans?
No, it was probably because I had quite a few 3-for-1 brewskis. But, before I went there, I wanted to go on a ghost tour.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm obsessed with ghost stories, even though I'm terrified of ghosts. Completely obsessed with like spooky stuff. And there is a story. It's called Zach and Abby, I believe.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's what their names are. I feel really terrible for saying that if it's wrong. But basically, they were friends and they met, whatever.
Yeah, Addie. Zach and Addie. You were
Zach
right
and
on.
Addie.
Yeah.
Zach and Addie. And anyway, Zach actually ended up killing Addie and like cut her up into pieces and like left her like body parts like in the fridge and on the stove and this and that, and then he ended up like committing suicide. But it was just crazy. And I heard that they have the stove and the fridge and that her body was in a haunted museum in New Orleans, and you can actually like see it, which is really morbid, but like really like not cool, but like just like whoa.
Yeah. So
like I don't know. I get there's the hotel, I guess, that he had committed suicide off of. I don't know. My friend walked past it and she said she got weird vibes. But like their apartment was above like a psychic reading place, I think it was, or like I don't know. It was weird. So when I go back, I do want to see that. But other than that, ghost stories. I'm terrified of ghosts. Apparently, my room is haunted. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I've never seen anything in here, but
what do you mean?
Whoever's in here, I'm good.
Right, and you just say, you can be here, but just don't bother me.
Yeah, don't bother me. Don't touch me. Don't sit on my bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's all good.
I mean, there's a lot of history with voodoo magic and the voodoo religion in New Orleans because of the history of that city. So there's a lot. There's some truth to that.
Oh my gosh, I had an alligator when I was there. I have wanted to try alligator for my entire life, and I ended up, but it was like alligator sausage. I was expecting like a little gator and like on like a skewer.
That's what I had.
It wasn't Bobby Boucher style, but I wish it was. But it was delicious.
It's really good. There's this awesome place called, oh shit, it's not coming to me, but they serve alligator cheesecake. So it's like a savory cheese. It's not sweet, like sweet cheesecake, but it's stuffed with alligator, andouille sausage, crawfish. It's the best thing you will ever have. And it's at a place in Uptown. Oh my God, the name's just escaping me right now. But, Krabby Jack's. That's one of his restaurants, that chef, but it's phenomenal. But then I had actual alligator on a stick down in the bayou. I went to I think it was the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival. Okay. And it's like way down, way in the bayou over lots of bridges and marshland. And there was like a festival, and I had I was like, I got to get me some fried alligator. So
Yeah.
I did.
Whew.
It's good stuff. Tastes like chicken.
It kind of does.
I mean, it's a little tougher.
A mixture between like steak and chicken, I think. Yeah, it was good. And I had it in sausage form, so that makes perfect sense.
It does.
Steak, chicken, sausage.
Steaks. You know what I had never had before when I got to know, I had chicken fried steak, and I had a total Jessica Simpson moment of like, is this chicken or steak?
Oh
like,
my God.
I had never, I'm from Chicago. What, like, I'm Polish, and like, we don't have chicken fried steak. Like I mean, come on.
But your life has now changed since having chicken fried steak.
Oh yeah. And it's steak, but with chicken fried batter.
Yeah.
Like,
you know who
flavoring.
Really good chicken fried steak?
Who?
And I'm probably going to be told or made fun of for this, but Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake.
Really?
I mean, it's like huge. Like it's like, whoa, it's big. But man, after a night out of drinking, that thing hits the spot.
This is the part of the podcast where we let you, yes, you, hockey fans, take the mic and tell your story of interacting with an NHL player, past or present.
Hey, this is DJ Flook from StadiumScene.tv. I'm here to share a story about the time I met my childhood hero, Joe Sakic, in Nashville, of all places. So back when I was in college, my dad and I, we used to take a Christmas time trip down to Nashville when I was in Indiana. Drive down there, spend the day. We'd walk around, Broadway Street, and we'd kind of hang out before the game. And the first year we were down there, we were down seeing Colorado. Joe Sakic was my childhood favorite player, and so we spent the morning trying to figure out where the player hotel was, and we finally figured out that the teams are staying at the Renaissance Hotel about 2 blocks or so north of the stadium. They actually walk to the stadium before the game. So we ended up kind of loitering around, and as we were walking up this little hill to get to the Renaissance, we ended up actually running into Joel Quenneville, Blackhawks legendary coach now. He was coaching Colorado at the time, and very, very nice guy. Don't let the act on TV of him being this angry, grumpy guy fool you. It's an act. Very, very nice man. But we go up the stairs or up the hill. We're standing outside of the hotel. There were a group of fans out there who figured this out as well, as Colorado Avalanche players start walking out of the hotel. They drop their bags off and they're walking out to the arena for the game. And I'm standing there waiting. Most of the players had come by. Like Milan Hajduk was there. I'm drawing a blank on who else. But finally, I'm sticking my head in the hotel, waiting for him, nothing. And finally, like just as I was about to give up, I look up, and here he comes down the escalator carrying his garment bag and his suitcase. And it was just kind of like a moment for me that my childhood hero was coming down the escalator. And, they say don't meet your heroes because, they're more likely to disappoint you. Totally not the case with Joe Sakic. His nickname of Gentleman Joe is absolutely true. He went out and he visited with everybody. He took pictures, signed autographs. I mean, very, very, very nice man. And just kind of further emphasized him being a childhood hero for me. But, I'm walking around, I get my picture taken, and I have this horrible picture of me with him where I decided to buy a cowboy hat in Nashville and walk around like an idiot. And, that was it. So childhood hero. I'm so thrilled that I had the chance to meet him.
Thanks for sharing your story on the House of Hockey podcast. We'd love to hear your story if you have one of interacting with an NHL player, past or present. Just call our phone number, 323-438-2648. Tell us your name, tell us the NHL player's name and the team they play for, and then tell your story in 5 minutes or less. And you just might hear it on an upcoming episode of the podcast.
We went from like heavy to weird with ghost stories and food and everything.
So talking about gators.
But that's life, gators. Guys. That's life.
That is life.
And
well,
should we send it?
Yeah, let's bring Corey in.
Laissez-les bon temps brûler. Let the good times roll. I know, I told you it was cheesy, Corey. Because we are bringing some New Orleans to the House of Hockey. Please welcome Corey Fleetwood, AKA on Instagram, Bayou Benders. Welcome.
Well, hi. That was a great intro.
There's more. Hold on.
All right.
There's more. Corey is the self-proclaimed messiah of New Orleans hockey revival, and Corey is also on the same network as Breezy and I. And before I let you even say anything more, I have to give you the biggest thank you, Corey, because you are literally the whole reason that Breezy and I are on the Hockey Podcast Network, because you found me on Instagram and recommended that I be on Grant's Blackhawks podcast, The Hungry for Hawks Talk, and everything literally went from there. So officially, publicly, thank you.
No problem. I guess that's that Southern hospitality. No, I actually, I saw one of your videos and I was like, wow, she's doing like everything I want to do for New Orleans, but people down here really just don't pick up on hockey that well. But like, I loved your stuff. And then it just so happened Grant was going out of town, and I was like, they need a Chicago person. She's perfect, you know?
Aww.
And then I found out that Breezy was coming on, and I went and looked at her stuff, and it's just as hilarious as it can be. It proves the point, you know, like you don't have to not be a woman, like a woman, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hockey players, they're gorgeous, you know, so it's just like, you know exactly which ones are going to be up there. I love that. There's a Tyler Seguin Sunday. I think that is hilarious. Like, I know that women find him just absolutely, you know, like God's gift. It's great. I love what you guys have done, and I was just so happy to find out that you guys were going to be a part of this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
No
I was, I told you as this was all developing and Breezy and I were figuring out our plan and everything, I was like, I promise we will have you on the podcast and do something. And I really wanted to talk to you because if people haven't figured out by the intro and your accent, you are from New Orleans. You live in New Orleans.
Born and raised. I still live in the house I grew up in. Just about, you know, like I spent like ages 1 to 3 across the street, and then 4 to 28 now where I'm at, except for like that 6 month process of, you know, Hurricane Katrina. But, you know, I guess I got traded, you know, that's an easy way to put it.
You got traded across the street. Well, I don't know that I've talked about this on the podcast. Maybe I have, but I
briefly, I think.
Did I, Breezy? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll reiterate that really quickly, that I lived in New Orleans from, I went to college at Loyola of New Orleans from 03, dating myself here, whatever, to 07. And then from 07 to 09, I lived and worked in Baton Rouge in local news. And New Orleans has a very special place in my heart. And I fell in love with that city. I still love that city. I love listening to you talk, Corey. It makes me feel like I'm right back at home. And it just gives me it feels like I just put a warm blanket on.
No,
that might be creepy, but that's what New Orleans
does to people. It's a city, but it doesn't feel like one. It's very small, tight-knit communities, and everybody's kind of got the same idea. You know, it's just the days for working, and the nighttime's just for relaxing with friends, and the weekends are just filled with fake tourism. You know, everybody's a tourist when you go to New Orleans. Like, even when I worked out there, like, I'd walk down the streets when I get bored, you know, it's a fun spot to do that, you know?
Yeah. And Breezy, you've been to New Orleans or no?
Yeah, I was there in December. I did a little bit of a road trip, and so I was there like 2 days, I would say. Yeah, 2 days, 2.5 days.
And do you remember
that's a great amount of time. You can get a good amount done.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I do remember a lot of it. I don't like to get drunk, but I like a good buzz. So we went out. Yeah, there was like 15 of us. It was an interesting time because I ended up going into a house where I didn't know anybody except for one person. So I was on my best behavior. But yeah, it was a good time, and I feel like I need to go back because I feel like it would be cool to go back with people I know, just because I feel like you'd have more fun. But I get the itch all the time. I'm like, gosh, like I really want to go back. So it's a good place.
Yeah, it's super cheap down here. You know, I hear that a lot from people that aren't from here, and then people that are like born here were like, hey, it's not expensive. It's reasonable. And everybody else from like up north is like, this is a very cheap place for everything. So it's like we do pull in a lot of tourism down here because of that.
I mean, those 3-for-1 beers, they got me. They get me.
You can drink outside, open container.
Yeah. I remember I'd get off of work and every place has a $5.25 shot of beer combo. You know, like, you know, you get your High Life and your, I don't know, Jameson, whatever you have. You know, they have a little list. You know, it's like for one more quarter you can upgrade to a Tully. You know, so like that was my thing.
Oh my gosh, I have so many memories of that city. I just love it. I miss it to pieces. But what I didn't know, and at the time when I lived there, I mean, I was in school and I was focused on, you know, working. I worked in radio there, and I was not paying attention to sports really at all at that point in my life. I was a sports fan, but I was not nearly dialed in as I am today. Other priorities like getting wasted, getting tattoos, going out. I mean, just, you know, all the things that you do when you're in college. And I didn't know that there was actually some form of pro hockey there right before I got there. Corey, tell us about like the past of, let's focus on just New Orleans professional level hockey, and tell us the history of it and if there is any right now in New Orleans.
There's none in New Orleans. There are passionate relocated fans down here. A lot of Chicago. But no, when you first came was actually the end of New Orleans hockey. So in 2005, we had lost our team. We were playing at the, I want to say it was the Municipal Auditorium, and this was the Brass. And it was the coolest logo. It was the coolest name for a team. We just did it right. And if you remember anything about New Orleans while you're here, Ray Nagin, our mayor, he was the owner of the team, which made it so much better for like nostalgic purposes. But, you know, when I grew up, there was hockey down here. I would go every now and then. I was a little too young to really take it all in. But when you came here, we had lost it. But we were an affiliate for San Jose, so I know Breezy likes that. I'm a big Sharks fan too. But outside of New Orleans, you know, like after 2005, like you had to go to Baton Rouge or Lafayette and then Shreveport. If that's where you wanted hockey, that's where you had to go. And I just said it right before we started that, like, you would have loved Lafayette when you were in Baton Rouge because Scott Darling was in net out there, which was so awesome. I love it.
I had no clue. I had no clue that Scotty Darling was literally 45 minutes away from me. And it's super, like, I feel really shitty about this, that I didn't know, and
it's
I could have gone.
Like, look, I didn't know. You know how I found out? Was I used to work at a bar called Turtle Bay on Decatur, and when I worked there, I always had hockey on. We have like 7 televisions in the front bar. So I always had at least 2 for hockey, and it was Chicago versus, what was it, the Lightning, in the Stanley Cup. I think, was that the year when Scott Darling came in a little bit?
I think so. Yeah, that was the last year, the 2015 year.
Well, they mentioned during that playoff run that he was the only player to come out of the SPHL, which I believe it's what it was called, but it was the Southern Professional League out here.
Yeah, you're right. The Southern Professional Hockey League. Yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah. So he's the only player to ever come out of that and make it to the NHL. And I was like, I respect this guy. And then I immediately went from having the Lightning to having the hometown hero. You know, like he doesn't even have to be from here. He's now, you know, born and raised New Orleans, Louisiana kid. As soon as I heard that, the whole bar was just like, no, Chicago's gonna win it. And it was awesome when they did.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. Well, so I was doing, since you mentioned some of the other teams, let's just get that out of the way, and then let's talk about New Orleans based hockey specifically, as opposed to the state. But there's those Shreveport Mudbugs. That's the only team left, right? They're tier 2
and
junior.
They're amazing. They're amazing. It's a fun spot. They really love their hockey out there. They do like a Star Wars night every year. It's really sick. They had this year they had like the Darth Vader jersey, and it was like their jerseys are like a really nice purple, almost like a bluer mint color and white. And then sometimes they have the blacked out jerseys, which are sick. But they had that for Darth Vader, and it was so pretty.
And what's that like to go to a game there?
It is the funniest thing ever. It's a bunch of like if you love my dialect, it's like this meets just like a lot more country. And it's just a little small network of just hockey's greatest fans. Like you go to these games and there's just Mudbug uniforms everywhere. And then there's like people representing their favorite teams. You got Kings fans, you got Oilers fans, you got, Sharks fans out there, Chicago. So it's literally a place where it's like going to a high school, like, fan club. It's like everybody's in there to, like, represent their own little thing. It's super cool. It's like just a meetup for hockey fans. And these kids are fantastic. They are fantastic. There's a lot of fighting. So, like, I brought my wife, and she loved it. Like, they dropped the gloves, like, 3 times. She was like, this is amazing. I was like, you lived out here your whole life. You are an hour away from it. You never go on to any of these games. They play like twice a weekend. Like,
so funny. That's amazing. And then that's the only,
That's the only thing we have left.
Right. Because
Louisiana, for some reason, can't hold hockey except for Shreveport. Shreveport was even like, they got nominated for the Hockey Town. I think Kraft does it. And like PK Subban was like reposted it and like tried to endorse it. So it was super cool to have that moment of like having someone as cool as PK like recognize like a small Louisiana town.
What's his tie though to Shreveport?
I don't think there is one. I think it's just he was in Nashville at the time, so it's just it was just like a small knit country, hockey based town. And I'm sure he loved that,
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And then there was the only other team was the Baton Rouge Kingfish. They were in the ECHL. They were in Baton Rouge from 96. Yeah. And the only thing I could find in my research was that they were affiliated with the St. Louis Blues, and one of their former coaches was Pierre Maguire, who we all know.
We also have in Baton Rouge right now, there's just like the Mudbugs, there's a young team. They're called the Louisiana Drillers, and they're sick. Their coach, man, I'm drawing a blank, but he used to play in the NHL. I believe they called him Jaws.
I don't know.
And yeah, he was a big enforcer type. It was really cool. I have never made it out to one of their games, but Shreveport is a little easier when we go see my in-laws. It's just like right there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna slip away for take about an hour drive, be back in a couple hours.
Those names are incredible. I love them.
We have the best logos too. Like
yes.
we have great ideas for names, and turn around and just come out with bangers of logos. Like the second edition of the Ice Skaters in Lafayette was just beautiful. There's a very beautiful jersey. We just really know how to make it look good. We can sell the product. We just can't fill it, and that's what sucks about it.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? Well, beer league. I mean, is there any beer leagues out there? Anything like that?
Not really. I think there's
I feel like they'd have really good names.
Small something. You're right. I think it's more of like a Baton Rouge area thing. Like they had a rink out there. And even LSU had picked up their club hockey team for like a year or two. I think that died down, but I'm sure that rink is still being used for like beer league style, but it's just not, we don't hear a lot about it, way down here.
Yeah. How many rinks are there in New Orleans? Zero? Not even just like a nice rink to like go chill?
I can't even get one. We have at our Civic Center, they do an ice rink for Christmas, and it's not worth going because it's like 4 hours of waiting to get 20 minutes of skate time. And then it's so congested you can't do anything. But, like, I think the closest would be, like, Biloxi that would have, like, the least wait time to most time on ice.
Okay.
There's literally no ice in Louisiana. No ice rinks except the one in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge, they probably still have one in Lafayette, and then Shreveport that I know of.
Are there club teams in Shreveport? Or just the pro, like just the
I think
junior
like
league?
that the high school plays and stuff like that, but nothing really outside of it. I think they're a travel team at that, you know.
Is there any
Like, so
roller hockey or anything like that?
there was a small roller hockey thing going on around here, but it died out.
Okay.
There's just not enough. The people that come down here are feeling like they're too old to get back into it, or it's the young people that are like wanting to organize it but just can't get enough people. Like, we've tried multiple times to try to get that community going. The best thing I can get is people showing up to a bar to watch games, you know. So, like, we just take what we can get.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, speaking of bars, where's the best bar to watch a game if you're visiting?
I would say Turtle Bay where I used to work. That's kind of me pulling for like the home team. But
Okay.
They did just when they got rid of Airbnb really down here, we turned our 2 Airbnb rooms into a gigantic second level bar, and they've added more TVs up there, and a lot of people go up there, but because there's so many different places you can go in the back, in the main bar, and then upstairs, the crowds die down, and you can go up top and watch 8 TVs of games. Like, I'll just go up there and I feel like I'm like Professor X. I'm just like tapped into every television. I get to swivel around and look at every game I want. You know, I'm a big fantasy player.
Yeah. Is there there's obviously a lot of people who relocated down there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's probably more of the hockey community, just from people who have relocated. Are there any teams or a specific team that you think primarily takes over New Orleans?
It's kind of hard. I feel like when I worked, sometimes I would have to work the door, and you just see jerseys every now and then, but I see a lot of Chicago.
Okay.
And I know that Rae Rae's.
They're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
I meet so many hockey fans out here, and 2 of my really good friends from working out there, Matt Ryan and Ashley Ryan, they're big Chicago supporters. They would come to our bar for every Chicago game they could catch. So it's just like I got really sucked into watching their games and becoming a fan, because of them. So kudos to them, I guess, But you just get a lot of different people come in. So, like, we had, like, one girl that was one of our bartenders for a bit. She was a Kings fan. It just so happened to be the last year the Kings won the cup. And I remember her crying behind the bar as, like, I'm putting ice in the beer well. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, we just won it. I'm like, yeah, congratulations. Like, I don't need the Kings to win anymore, But it was just awesome. We do see a lot of different people. Being a Montreal fan, though, I do get a lot of Montreal fans down here, and then they immediately want to speak French. And then they're like, oh, you don't speak French? I'm like, yeah, because I have a southern twang, and, it doesn't really sound like I'm from Montreal,
Right. I think
they think, but we're in the French Quarter.
Right. They think because of the French history that everybody there speaks French in New Orleans.
The French that they would – if I knew the French that they speak down here, it's something I really wish. Because it is so backwater. It is such a mix of like island sound, a little bit of German, French, and then just this pig Latin backwater. It is just beautiful. If you've seen The Water Boy, it's Farmer Fran. That is our French. So it's like I wish that, when I'd run to a Montreal fan and they would speak French to me, I could understand it and then hit them with that twang just to send them to the board, just like I don't know what that was at all,
That's so funny.
I love it. So who are your teams that you support in the NHL? So Canadiens?
Montreal is my biggest team, and that is because of just the French connection, Nashville, and San Jose are my top three.
Okay. Well, so then tell us a little bit more about the community, the hockey community in New Orleans. Like, do you organize like a Facebook group of people? Is there a place where you all hang out? Is it just really dispersed?
It's very dispersed. There's like 5 or 6 known hockey bars that you could go to, and you'll always find like a little community of them there. Like Chicago is really taken over Turtle Bay. You might find a lot of Boston fans at Ryan's. It's a big difference. Like I've converted my 2 cousins into Sharks fans a while back. So when we go out with them, we'll go catch a Sharks game. So there's like 3 main Sharks fans right in the bar, trying to set the tone. But we're like little small gangs, just like not committing crimes, just small little hockey groups just throughout these 5 different bars, and we see each other pass in the streets and we'll chirp, but it's all in just good fun. Like I had a Boston fan that would come in and eat, and I have a Montreal tattoo, and he would always show off his Gary Cheevers mask. And I used to yell at him and be like, dude, just don't make me go get like a Ken Dryden mask just to show up your, Gary Cheevers. Like, we could play this all day, it's okay. But everyone's really fun out here. If you like hockey out here, like, you're looking for people like us, because it's, like, you could see it on television, but you miss that ability to talk some puck with people. And that's when you come across us, it's really fun, because we're so different. We just want to talk any hockey because it's such a blessing to meet people that know hockey out here.
It's crazy. What's it like? Tell us a little bit more about what that's like to be a fan in a city where you can't even watch a fucking high school hockey game. There's literally no hockey. Because there's a lot of places like that, not just in New Orleans, but there are so many places, especially in the South, that don't have hockey.
Yeah, it's really a pain. So like, I mean, you could see it early on, just like my childhood. It was like, like Mighty Ducks come out, so like, Dad, I love the Mighty Ducks, and he's like, oh, well, you're too young, but let's watch Slapshot. And I get like thrown into that mix. I'm just the biggest hockey fan ever. My dad played a lot of NHL 94. But it was just sucks. It was like you're enveloped in this world that you have no business in down here. And you go outside, it's like, okay, well, I got 2 goals and I got some sticks to play, and there's like no kids want to play hockey. So there's like maybe 2 kids on your street that would want to play, but you really can't do anything with 2 kids, so you just kind of shooting at the at the garage or just anything you can do with a friend. But it just really sucked growing up not having a chance to play. I remember one of your guests had said something about trying when they were younger, but it was a little too expensive for their families, a little out of the way. Same thing for me. Our next door neighbor, I have no idea what his name is, but he was a really awesome guy. He was a young fire department guy, and he was the coach of a team out in Baton Rouge. And he'd watch me every day play by myself in my driveway, just shooting the puck around. And he was like, hey, like, would you like to come, to Baton Rouge? We can see if you could set up to play with, the season's about to start. My mom was like, okay with it, because like they wanted me out of the house, because I am just, to this day, I'm like a nervous wreck. I have way too much energy for the type of body that I have. And so like they put me in sports, and the only sport I really wanted to play was hockey and baseball. And just to be deprived of my favorite of the 2, just it sucked growing up. And then to this day, it's still a challenge. You got to watch it on Reddit. Now Reddit doesn't have it, so now it's all right. We're going to the bar, and sooner or later they're going to ask you to buy something. So it's like I can't get too drunk, but I have to kind of set them off to the side. I can't have them back to back, or I won't leave. I'll rack up quite a bill. I can't do that.
You should just be like, here's $40. I'm going to just sit here for 4 hours and watch hockey. Just leave me the fuck alone. Let me yell at the TVs, and you do your, whatever that guy is called. What did you call him? Barexman?
The what?
X-Men, the X-Men thing.
Oh, Professor X.
Professor X.
Yeah, Professor Xavier.
Clearly.
Yeah. See, Turtle Bay's just kind of like, I guess I'm like their problem child, so they have no problem with me doing it. But like, my friends don't always want to go there, you know. But it's fun for me because I'll get, you know, I get to see old friends that still work there, and then I can just be left alone to watch as much hockey as I want.
Yeah, that's just so wild. I can't even imagine falling in love with a sport as a kid from, you know, the movies or whatever it is, and wanting to do it and play and be like the players that you saw and have that be your outlet, and really have no opportunity to do that. And, you know, because of lots of reasons. And I'm glad you get to do it now, though, on the podcast network.
It's
and you
insane.
Get to, and you're like old enough to drive now, so you could like drive to Shreveport.
Yeah.
Like, you can get some hockey, and you can get like buy an airplane ticket and go, you know. But what were you gonna say?
I still want to go to an actual NHL game. It's never came up at a right time for me to go, and I hate it so much because I'm been a fan my whole life, and I've never gone to a game.
Wait. You've never been to an NHL game still?
No, that's my fun thing is like everybody's like, yeah, you know, my main goal is to go to every single arena. I'm like, I have the same goal. And we like start talking like, I've gone to like 17. How many have you gone to? I'm like 0. But it doesn't mean that my goal is not, you know, something I can accomplish. You know, it just hasn't worked out.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a long pause.
I'm in shock.
I just don't even know what to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breezy, I think.
Never fell in line.
I think, well, I will get your ass to any arena we can when hockey gets back. Personally, I will. Awesome. We will meet you there because we
will come pick you up.
Yes.
And drive you.
Guys
up.
are perfect.
Yes.
Just gonna get kidnapped. My wife's like, "What's going on?" Be like, "It's all right. It's all right."
You can come too. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is my luck, right? So we were going to Denver. Our anniversary is April 3rd. We were going to Denver. We were going to catch a game out there, go see some friends. Quarantine.
No.
So like you going to Nashville, that didn't happen. I didn't get to go to Colorado to just check out any game I could. I got friends out in Toronto. My friend was going to pay for us to go see Habs versus Toronto one night. And that fell through, and it just sucked, you know. So this has been the story of my life, going to an NHL game. And the people I've converted, my 2 cousins have gone to games. One's going all the way to San Jose to catch a game. And I'm just like, you guys enjoy it. You know, like I can't go off for work. Or I don't have the money for it right now. It's just a pain.
Okay, so where should we take him? This is serious shit right now.
I'll go to any game.
No, this can take him anywhere.
No, but this has to be very well thought out. Like,
well, he's a Canadiens fan. We've never been to a Habs game, so maybe we go up to Montreal.
Jesus.
And you know what? You got plenty of time, Corey, to learn that backwoods French from Louisiana. So when we go there, you can hit them with some real chirps. I'm sure you can figure out.
It's something I'm going to do because it's kind of known at this point, but you know, so I am doing the Devil's Advocates. I am the e-bug, as you say. I'm a interim co-host. I've moved around. I'm a journeyman of the podcast network. But I am going to be helping take over Montreal next season, and one of my fun segments is going to be trying to teach us French. So hopefully I could get a little something going. I took the wrong language in high school. I took German, so you know, I just went off the wall. I'm a big beer guy, so it's just like, oh, this is perfect. You know, German works.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my gosh. So even when
French.
Yeah, most kids in New Orleans though learn French in school.
Spanish, French, and I was just like, nah. It's like I want to go. I like beer. You know, I'm too young to drink it, but I'm an adolescent. I love beer. I'm going to take German. You know, should have definitely took French.
Okay, wait. So I have to go back to so you've never been to an NHL game, but you have been to the Shreveport Mudbugs.
Yeah, that is the only live game other than the Brass that I've gone to.
So you did go see the Brass.
Latvia. Yeah, but I was like kindergarten status. Yeah, like bringing like a blanket with me, like.
Right, and snacks, and you have to pee every 2 minutes, and Dad's
yeah,
like,
absolutely. My
what the
dad's
hell?
just like, you need to sit down. Like,
I can't even believe that. Okay, so you saw the Brass, you've been to the Mudbugs, you never went to Baton Rouge to see the Kingfish or
never seen the
Gators?
Kingfish or the Gators. I watched
Okay.
Gators on the internet because you were able to watch their games via like their live feed.
Yeah.
And I've done the same with a couple of teams, just never had the ability to go outside and go to a National League game. And that is something like I am looking so forward to.
All right, that's my way to thank you for everything you've done. I'm going to figure it the fuck out. I don't know. When everything resumes and the world is back, like I'm doing this with you. This is happening. So just tell your wife that two babes are coming to get you, and we're going to go watch some hockey. She, like Breezy said, she can come with, but
she can come. We're always down for a party.
Like
right. She's the same. I just don't. If there isn't a lot of hitting and fighting, I don't think she'll fall into it. I think, like, if I put it on in the living room, she ain't gonna have it. She's gonna be like, "Oh God, I'm gonna go in the other room." If she's at a game, I think it's that mentality. You get into the atmosphere. You know, like everyone said, there's no hockey like live hockey, and it's like, yeah, I get that. I just don't. You know, like I know what you're saying. I just don't get it. But she was the same way even with Shreveport Mudbugs. You know, she loved it when she got there. I think if it's a really good game, she'd love it.
Where could I get a black market New Orleans Brass hockey jersey? I don't collect jerseys like Breezy does. I only have one. I know. That wasn't a dig. That wasn't a dig.
Hilarious. You were like, I got one.
Breezy's
like, yeah, I got to fight the collection. I got the collection. And my wife's like, you got to tone it down. You know, like you got it. You know, you got it. You know, I could definitely spend this on something better. You know, maybe some stuff we need around the house instead of like my 17 jersey. Like,
well, hey, you know, you gotta treat yourself sometimes.
You're right.
Hard, right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
So, where can I get one of these black market New Orleans Brass jerseys? I feel like that's something I gotta have in my life.
Maybe like eBay.
Yeah.
You can find like that's what I was gonna do. I'm over looking for ones I can wear. I'm gonna get like a kid's petite and put it in a frame. It'll be like $70. You know, something cheap, but I'll get it. Yeah. It'll be authentic.
You can be like, I wore this when I was in first grade.
Right. It's just like
no one will know.
Made in 2018. You know, like
that was a typo.
Yeah. So this guy, that's my big thing. Like you're saying, like I tried to jump into catching some Louisiana hockey memorabilia. And this guy at the Joy Puck Club on Instagram, guy I found just like you, that was just super informative about, and he does a lot of like Southern hockey pucks and stuff like that. And he had an old Brass jersey, and I had bought it from him. It's not an authentic one, but I still love it. It's got the logo that I love the most with all the horn instruments popping up with New Orleans Brass under it in purple and gold. But yeah, I've been buying pucks lately. Those are a little cheaper, but eBay you can find some good gems on there. You know, stuff you'll probably fit in. Me, not so likely. You know, like they don't have that fabric.
Oh my gosh!
What's like your most prized possession of any hockey, whatever you have? What's like your number one thing you have? You think?
For a home team, I would say I have a New Orleans Brass puck that I just got. And it is, it's super old, and I love it. It's got like that, like you could tell it's just really old. It's not faded, but like the color's starting to change. Looks like maybe it was in like grandma's house and she smoked a lot, so like the white is now a little yellow. You know, I don't know. My prized possession, probably like my PK Subban jersey, like my Brent Burns jersey. You know, like just my favorite players, stuff like that.
You know what? Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I guess my Toronto family, like they basically like adopted me as like their Louisiana son. They bring me just like the craziest memorabilia down when they can. I'm trying to think. They had given me like a couple of beers like Molson that were like the original 16. So I have like a Canadiens one. I have a Toronto one.
Cool.
Stuff like that. It's just like, little things like that it's not as memorabilia as people would think, but it's big for me. It's like people went out of their way to bring me home something,
And you're a beer guy, so.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I actually drink. They brought me a Tim Hortons mug that's got like a fake hockey puck at the bottom so it can't fall. And I got drink beer out of it like all the time. Like when we used to do our video podcast, I would always come onto the set with it, drink like 4 beers like during the podcast, and like that would be my segment, is just talking hockey and just constantly refilling a Tim Hortons cup, coffee mug.
I love it. I've made up my mind of which Louisiana jersey I've decided that if it exists, which there's probably not very many, and I'd have to go right to the source, but I would want a Scott Darling jersey from his time on the ice
skaters. Yeah, I would get like I'd get the blank and find one of those companies that do that and just have it put on there. Even the guy, can't remember his name, but the guy that Goon is based off of, he played for them for like, I think 14 games.
Really?
It was like a small stint, but I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
I love it.
That's funny.
I love it. So, we started off by talking about how hunky hockey players are in general. So let's come full circle here. So who's your favorite hockey hunk, Corey?
Dude, Max Domi is one of the sharpest looking dudes I've ever seen in my life. Like, it ain't nothing but respect. That dude's gorgeous. Like,
that's a good one.
We haven't had Max Domi on here. I like him better without that Joker hair, though.
Oh, you don't like he's got those weird little curls that pop up at the end? Yeah, I like the short hair, but kid's just got just the biggest smile ever. He just looks like he's having fun every day of his life, and that is, I don't know. I just love his backstory. I loved his dad, so it's just, he comes to Montreal, I'm like, oh, it's just perfect. I had a breakout year with this. I'm like, it's my new favorite, him and Brendan Gallagher, just holding it down.
Yeah, we haven't had Max yet. Max
That's
is
a sharp looking guy.
Yep. Sharp answer too. I feel that. So who's your favorite hockey lady?
Probably Schofield.
Yeah.
Kendall. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I like her. That's insane. Okay.
I mean, I'm just happy that women's hockey is getting like picked back up. It's becoming like a big deal again. It's just more hockey for me to watch, So I'm excited to learn more about women's hockey. They're awesome.
What if that's the solution for New Orleans, is to get a women's hockey team?
I'd love it. Up until we got Zion, I was like, tank the team, tank the Penguin, the Pelicans. We need hockey down here. The only reason we don't have a team is because this, the original team came in. Let's bomb it. Let's get them out. Let's turn this ugly beehive looking, building into a nest for hockey.
Yeah. So how can we support you, and how can everybody listening support, what are you doing as the messiah of the revival of hockey in New Orleans? What are you doing? Is there anything people can do? Are there petitions we can sign? What is the advocacy behind bringing hockey there?
Right now, there's not much going on. I did take a break from a lot of social media, especially with the quarantine. I was like, this is, I'm still working, but this is the time for me to kind of work on myself a little bit more. But, when we were doing it, we were trying to organize people, get people to watch games. The more people we can get at a bar, that's an extra person we might be able to sway to watch a game. Why are all these hockey fans at this specific bar? We're super nice down here. That's what's awesome about the hockey community. There's not a lot of snobs, except for the people that live here, not snobs. People that come here, me and my cousin will be like, hey, that's a great jersey. And they'll just pompously walk away, throwing those shoulders out. And I'm like, that's really nice. I just wanted to have a conversation. I'm bored,
Yeah.
But,
oh, man.
I mean, hopefully when things go back to normal, I'd like me and my cousin will probably start back up trying to get some more, viewing parties going back on at bars. Right now, we're just looking to grow a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't worked in the past as far as like organizing to play any type of hockey out here. But right now, we're just trying to get people to find the love of hockey. So if that's just going to a bar and hanging out with some hockey fans, we'll take it one step at a time.
Yeah, because the Brass was successful when they
Very
were there,
successful.
Based on my research. Like they were
The only
winning
problem, we were great.
money. There was no money issue really well until everybody.
Until the end. And it was because they were trying to – it's kind of like what happened with the Islanders, going from, was it Brooklyn to the island. We were having the same thing. So go from the auditorium where everybody went, and then going to play at Smoothie King Center where not as many people would go, but they were going to make it to where they were going to move the team completely to share the arena with the basketball team. And that's when they brought the pricing went up and all of that. And it just kind of folded on itself. But if we would have stayed away from the basketball scene, we would have had a great community, small barn, it's a small community. So the barn was packed.
It's the best.
They just wanted to bring it to the next level, and it just didn't work out.
I think I have a great idea. Next season, playoff run. Let's get all of the people we know who travel really well, because there's a lot of people from certain teams that they have a core group of people who will travel to other arenas. Maybe we just say, let's have a giant party. We'll go down and visit you and just fill your favorite bars full of all these hockey fans. We'll just watch playoff hockey for I don't know, maybe 4 days.
Yes.
Okay, it's not hard.
It's fairly
if you could bring people to drink, the bars will very easily take it over. That sounds great. We'll do whatever you want.
We should try it.
I'm all for this.
I'm down with that.
We gotta make this like a House of Hockey invade.
Yes.
I think we should do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Any reason
I'm
to
about
get
it.
to New Orleans sound good.
We have a year to
fun.
make this all happen. So I think we can get the word out.
Yeah.
I think we can do it.
Sooner we start, who doesn't want to come to New Orleans and have, a good time? And if you're a hockey fan, be able to have a good time very cheaply out in the public with a beer or what have you, a wine spritzer, whatever. Be able to watch your favorite team in the playoffs. I'm just a fan overall, so it's whoever's playing, I'll watch it. So
Right.
Same. We both are. I watch playoff hockey regardless of whether my team's in it. You know who we got to get to come to this party though, that I think will really, I think we need to get Scott Darling involved. We need to make him the advocate of bringing hockey back to Louisiana in especially New Orleans, or Lafayette if we have to, but New Orleans is better. But yeah, we'll take it. I think we need to invite Scotty, and we got to have him bring some buddies, and we got to have him start a petition and get I'm sure he could figure out how to get him a meeting with the officials in the city. We got to just bribe some people, right? That's how New Orleans works.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Right.
Every team is owned by one family, so it's got to get that one family to be like, this is some more money you could make,
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. So tell us where people can listen to you on the Hockey Podcast Network, and shout out all your handles, or any final thoughts you need to say about everything New Orleans hockey, Louisiana hockey, and then promote yourself.
Yeah, no problem. You can listen to me every week. I am on Habs Nightly, and I'm also on The Devil's Advocate with co-host Shane of the Senators podcast, and our new and upcoming guy, Neil Villapiana, who's going to be doing a lot more with us soon with New Jersey. But you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Bayou Benders. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to spell as well. I tried to make it as simple as possible. But as far as Louisiana hockey, we're very passionate. We're a small-knit community, but the passion and the love for the game is there. And if you're from here, that vibrant personality makes people want to watch it with you, you know. So it's really fun to watch hockey with the natives, you know. So that's what we're just trying to do down here, you know. It's just prove that we can once again have hockey back in a great state and have it flourish.
Thank you, Corey.
Sounds good to me. I think I need to go down there and catch a game.
Well, let me know. You know, we'll go hit up one of 5 bars.
Well, we'll hit up all 5. Why not?
Perfect. I'm known. Like,
oh, what are the 5 bars? Tell us the names again. So if people want to go when they're there.
I'd say the best 3 right now that you could go to, I would say Turtle Bay. I'm going to say that's the number 1. Got to represent the home team. You can go to the American Sports Saloon. That's also called the Ass Bar. That is literally on the corner of right by Turtle Bay. You can go to Ryan's. It is 2 or 3 businesses from the House of Blues. You can catch games at Industry Bar right across the street from it. And I'm trying to think of the last place. It's somewhere uptown my friend goes to. I've never ventured that far yet. Kind of keep it in the city. It's a little easier to walk. Mm-hmm. But most places, you can just pester them enough to get some hockey on. But those in that tight little community area, 4 bars that are definitely worth going to have a watch at.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey.
No problem. It was fun.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.